So we have prophets that speak on God's behalf, and so they can be called God. We have judges who are judging and issuing verdicts on God's behalf, so they're called Elohim. And we also have the third category, which is human kings. Best example of this is Psalm 45, verse 6, where the king who is getting married, so it's likely Solomon or Hezekiah, is described in Psalm 45, verse 6, as saying, "Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of uprightness is the scepter of your kingdom." Psalm 45, verse 6. The human Israelite king is called Elohim in this passage. And you can read in the context. This is a king that's getting married. This is not an original reference to Jesus. This is a reference to a king that's getting married who is highly empowered by God. He's authorized by God. God shares his majesty with this king in one of the earlier passages. I think it's verse 3. But this is a king who is called God. He's called Elohim. Why? Because he is God's agent of rulership and dominion on this earth. He is ruling on God's behalf. And so he could be called God in this way. The reason why this passage is interesting is because it's quoted in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 8 to refer to the way in which Jesus can be described as God. Jesus is described as God in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 8, in the same way that the human king in Psalm 45, verse 6 was called God. Namely, he is a king who is ruling on God's behalf as God's agent. And the very next verse, Psalm 45, verse 7, indicates that this human king has a God above him. It says, "Therefore God, your God, has anointed you with oil over your companions." So it's very clear who the true God actually is. Another example would be Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, to where the king who was already born was called El Gibor, mighty God.